Okay, in this video today, I'm going to be showing you how I do ooh, I have nail polish little clips over here. I'm going to show you how to do a French manicure using the Gelous polish. I know that a lot of the pins in the nail section of Pinterest these days is talking about how to get a gel manicure at home using Gelous. And I know a lot of people also in comments were asking how to do a French manicure with this instead of just doing like a solid color on your nails. And so I'm just going to show you how I do it. I've already removed all the nail polish from my hands and washed them. I also went ahead and just gave them another swipe with acetone to remove all the oil so that so the polish will cling better and give you a longer lasting manicure. To start with the Gelous on the nail, which I think is why people are confused as about how to do a French manicure with it, but this is just how I personally do it. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap my nails. I just take the flat edge, this part of the brush, and just do it just like this across the edge of the nail. Oops, I got some on my finger there. And I just go ahead and do all 5 of them in one go across the edge. Just like that. I think that gives you just enough to wrap on, just so your manicure will be a little longer lasting, especially for me, because I work in a restaurant and I use the tips of my nails all day, and if I don't wrap them, my manicure will be ruined in just a day. Alright, so you apply the Gelous just on your tips, like just where you'll want the white. Just a thin little layer, just where you want the white for the tip of your French tips. And just go ahead and do that to all your nails. Alright, so the tips of my fingers, which I've applied the Gelous to, are pretty much dry right now. So now we're going to apply white. I'm just using this, just Sinful Colors white. What's it called? Snowy white. Which is really like a pure white. I wish I had a softer one, but I don't know. I'm very picky about my whites. I need like a marshmallow color. I just can't seem to find one. Alright, so this does not have to be perfect. Just make sure that you get coverage on your tips. Just a little bit thicker than you would like it. See, that's all you need. It doesn't need to be perfect right now. We will go through and clean that up. Just go ahead and apply the white tips to your entire hand. Alright, you can see here that I've applied the white tips to my entire hand. I know they look so goofy because they're not perfect, but that's what we're going to do now, is we're going to go through and clean it up. I used to have these fancy nail brushes, and I don't know what happened to them. So right now I'm actually just using a cheap paintbrush. You can see here where the paint has rubbed off from being dipped too far in the acetone. So if you're using a cheap brush like this, just make sure you keep the acetone on the metal part, or else you're going to end up with this yellow or whatever color paint just all over your hands. But this is it, just a simple brush, something kind of squared off or flat or even rounded at the side, but it needs to be flat, not at the top, but I hope you know what I'm saying. Alright, I'm just using this. Make sure it's pure acetone. Regular nail polish that's only partially acetone or no acetone, whatever, it just does not work as well. So I just use this in between using the acetone. Make sure you keep the lid on, which I'm not listening to myself right now, but make sure you keep the lid on because it does evaporate very quickly, and you'll find yourself going through a lot of it. So I just dip my brush in there, swipe off some excess. And then just bend your bend your fingers however you're comfortable. What I'm comfortable with kind of changes on the day. Just find what's comfortable for you. Okay, so see, it's a lot more cleaned up. It's not perfect, but I just want to move on so I can show you the rest of my fingers. Okay, so this here with the pure acetone on it, you just put it on your finger and just swipe, 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 until you get the perfect thickness and a perfect clean line right there at the bottom. See, look how easy that was. It's just very simple. And then you just want to clean up the sides because you're going to end up with a little bit of white on the edge of your nails on the skin from the swiping. So I just like to clean that up a little bit. But when you wash your hands when they're dry, they will look perfect, I promise. Like it'll get all that excess off. So just want to clean that up. All right, and then just do the rest of your nails just like that. Just swipe, 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 swipe. So now you're going to have the Gelous polish under these white tips, but not the rest of your nail. Which is why I said to apply it only to the tips. Swipe, 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 swipe. And then just clean up the edges. And then you might want to look at your fingers and compare them to make sure that they're all pretty equal in thickness. And I think they are. It's kind of hard for me to tell on the camera right now, but I think they're pretty even. Clean up my thumb a little more, so I didn't pay that much attention to it the first time. There we go. All right, I think they're pretty even. And since we started cleaning up our nails, the white is pretty much dry, maybe a little tacky, but pretty much. So we're going to go ahead and apply another coat of Gelous. Okay, so this is kind of like the decoration, so you can consider this your first base. So from here on out, you can pretty much just follow the rules of the Gelous manicure on Pinterest. But instead of layering Gelous color, it'll be Gelous clear, because you obviously want it to be clear so it doesn't cover up your tips here. And then you just do a thin little coat on all your nails with the Gelous. And feel free to wrap your tips again if you feel like you need it, just to help that manicure last a little bit longer. Now, if the white is not completely dry, when you do the next coat, it might make your white kind of streaky. So you want to make sure that it's dry enough to go back through with the Gelous. We're going to give it time now to dry before we do the next coat. Alright, I've given a few minutes for the Gelous to dry. It's probably not completely dry, but mostly dry anyway. And now we're just going to go over it with a top coat. I mean, not a top coat, just a clear polish. And again, just go through with a thin layer on all your fingers. Alright, so there's the clear coat on all my fingers. I'm just going to give that time to dry. Then after this, I will do one more coat of Gelous, and then I will do a top coat. Alright, we have now done the tips, the Gelous, a clear coat, another coat of Gelous, another clear coat, and now we're going to do a top coat. Honestly, my favorite top coat is Orly Second Dry. I know that a lot of people talk about the Sèche Vite, but sorry about my phone. Anyway, Orly Second Dry is my favorite top coat, but I'm almost out of it. So I'm going to use China Glaze Fast Forward. Now you have to be careful because this does dry really fast, And the Gelous underneath, although it's not tacky anymore, it's still like dentable. So it will still move around if you try to make the bed or something like that. So even though it might feel dry after this dries, just make sure that you give your nails enough time to completely dry off, for all the coats to completely dry so that you don't accidentally dent your nails. I'm going to do the top coat and I'll see you in a moment. Alright, now we have done the tips, a layer of Gelous, a layer of clear, another layer of Gelous, another layer of clear, and also a top coat. As you can see, they look pretty good. I don't think they're perfect. I kind of rushed through them to get them done for this video. But if you just make sure that you take your time, then they'll look pretty good, and make sure that the thickness is even. Now, I will point out one mistake that I made on this finger. My camera doesn't really focus that well, but if you can see, it's kind of lumpy and not perfectly even at the bottom. And that's because I put the white on too thick and then did not let it dry enough before I put on the first coat of Gelous. Now if you do that, the Gelous kind of expands with the white and makes it look a little bit lumpy at the edges. So just make sure you don't do that. Now I'm just going to go through and clean up my cuticles along the side of my fingernails, just because my fingers tend to get really dry there and kind of split. So yeah, I'm going to clean up my cuticles, cut them, trim them down, everything, wash my hands, put on some lotion, and my fingers will look pretty good. And you don't really have to be too gentle on these nails to make this manicure last, because that's kind of the point of doing the Gelous manicure. For me, just because I do use my hands so often, this manicure for me will probably last about 4 days. But if you have like I don't know, if you don't do like a lot of gardening and things like that like I do, it should probably last a week, maybe even 2. But there we have it, the Gelous French manicure. And good luck. Go ahead and post in the comments. Let me know how it works for you or ask me any questions. All right, bye-bye.